Good afternoon, everybody. Come on in and visit. It's just the Friday before Mother's Day, yesterday, that we went shopping, and naturally there's orchids. And we're cutting back. Well, we were, but I go shopping with Mom, and she's 94, and she loves plants like I do. And she insisted on getting 2 pots. Well, she's going to keep one downstairs, she said. I'm not sure. So anyway, I thought, we've been running around planting gardens, and everybody knows what it's like. We're all so busy, we really don't take time to visit with each other. And I enjoy this as my visiting time, because I can take as long as I want, and so can you. You can leave anytime you want. But so what we're going to do today is something we've done many times on something I haven't seen before. So let's get at it. Now, this is what Mom picked out. They were $40 at the Save On grocery store in town on Friday, and they come with a ivy. And there's 2 orchids in this one. It's very pretty. There's still buds coming out, and they're a smaller orchid. And so I got pots I can use for that. But the one I want to start with is this one. I picked this one out for $40. And for Mother's Day, there was 3 orchids in this pot. 3 separate one-spikers, and a beautiful salmon color. So I thought the salmon color would look nice in my strawberry dish that Jack drilled a hole in the bottom, and the other holes were already there. So I think that's what's going to go in there. I have these 2 pots, and I better get this one. Okay. Now, sorry about that, I should have done that earlier, but the other hanging pot, which was, these you find I think with hummingbird feeders in them, but I found my bigger one that's in the window and this one, and I made these out of cocoa mat. I stitched them together and made these little baskets that fit in. And the other orchid has a new leaf coming that's in the other hanging basket. It's doing very well, seem to really like it. So I decided that one of them's going to, probably one of these small ones will go in there. And I have my bark ready. And now some people, I want to cover as much as I can, but some people have been asking what bark I use. Maybe I'll just put this like this for a minute. And when we bought this last year, Hannah Orchards in town was closing down, and they had these bags like 60 or 70% off. And Jack said we should get 2, and I said, we'll never use 2. Now I have a whole big bucket for today, but yes, we've used it. And so it is just straight orchid bark by Rexus. There's no size on it, but I'll show you the size. And it says, is cleaner heat-treated Douglas fir bark that has been processed by high grading and sizing to the highest standards for orchid growers. It is machine dried at specified temperatures for heat treatments, and it goes to this extent in order to provide you with a safer, cleaner product. So, orchid growing media. So there's other languages here, and that is it. I have seen you can buy it online in smaller bags. So it's heat-treated Douglas fir bark, and it's from the USA. So there we go. Now, whoops, sorry Maggie. Okay. Now, I soaked a whole, it's probably 3/4 full of bark for today. And it's just, all I'm using is bark today. Sometimes, if I have a bigger pot, I'll add charcoal. Sometimes I don't, but I've been doing good with just this. And so there is a tiny little bit of so small perlite in here, perlite or whatever it is, in there too. So let's, I don't know, I broke one rule. I only seen about one aerial root, and I like to look for aerial roots. I'll just start picking this out. But I could not find a pot. And I thought, well, there's no drainage holes anywhere on this pot. So I soaked it for about 10 minutes, and here it comes. Okay, you see what they've done. This one was in a pot this size. Now, if you get for Mother's Day something that likes this in a no drainage pot, and you find what they've done is they've taken one, this is just solid packed moss. There is no air holes, and I don't care how you're watering it. This should be done ASP. So we got home, I soaked the bark right away yesterday. Here we are 24 hours later, and we have, you can see, they took them out of their pots, and for selling for Mother's Day, they've just squished them right in here. Now, if they stayed like this, what will happen is these roots will get so wet, and they are now, but I soaked it, that actually what happens is the vellum can only absorb so much water, and it'll just slowly start to deteriorate. This one is already. Because there's no air. They need air. I like as big as holes as I can get in each pot I use. And then, even if it's straight bark, but also add some of the larger size perlite if you find you need more, depending on your climate. I do good with just the bark. You can add perlite, and charcoal's also good. Charcoal is good to keep it sweet in areas where it starts to break down. This is just terrible. So I'm going to quickly, so here we have 3 orchids, and we'll quickly see how they are. So what happens is, if your leaves start to go wilty, now it could be something before you even potted it. If it's sitting around in a condition like this, the roots they need air, and they need to dry out a bit between waterings. Living like this is not good. Now, the roots that are on the outside, when they've had lots of water, they will turn green. On the inside, don't be scared if you see white roots, because that's quite normal. And it's normal even where they live, depending on the sunlight they're getting. And the aerial roots that come up, I like them because you can miss them. After repotting, you water your one main day a 5 to 10 minute soak, 1 day a week. Then, if it's getting dry, like in the winter, I just do the 1 day. But now it's getting drier, and halfway through the week, I go around with my watering can, because they're all sitting over bowls. And so the water runs right through, sits in the bowl, helps give some humidity, and it's not sitting in the water, because I always put a block or an upside down bowl or anything so it's higher than the bottom surface of the bowl. I water around and around with the watering can. It goes into the bowl, and I let it stay there so that it's also given humidity. And that should be enough. I wouldn't recommend more than that. Now, if you're getting wilty leaves, it could have been just a shock of transplanting. But when your the new leaves come, slowly you'll get nice healthy leaves, and those ones, they may perk up a bit, but they'll never be straight up and firm. And it happens from overwatering, sitting in too much moss too long, the sooner they are pulled out of this condition, the better. Because what happens is the vellum can only absorb so much water, and pretty soon this all quits working and it won't absorb anymore. And then they're sitting in water, so it can't absorb all the water around them, and they start to rot. And so that's why I always say, as soon as possible, soak your bark 24 hours. Now, what happens with new bark is, I'll put that there. What happens is, the new bark, it cannot absorb water too quickly. So in the first year, I'm going to say, your water will run through anyway, but it's not absorbing water properly. That's why I soak it for 24 hours. And as it sits over, say, a year, and it starts to deteriorate a bit, it becomes so that it is holding more water, and you find you need to water less. So I don't think you should have to water more than twice in the summer. One good soak and one real good rush water through. And that's also good to get rid of any fertilizer you might be using. So I'm just going to rinse this one off in here. So the lymph fleas can be from too much watering, not enough watering. It's sad because you don't know, and I know when I first started, I thought, oh, the leaves are going limp. They're dry, and I'd want to water, but actually, it's quite often the other way. If you're doing the soak and the slight water halfway through, that should be enough. And they like to dry out in between. They're very, very, very hardy, and we tend to worry about them. But once they adjust to the bark, and I think any media change is going to be an adjustment. So because we've done this right away, I'm going to give you a close-up. Now this orchid has spiked once before. I see where it's been cut off. And I'll give you a close-up. I hate to cut any roots off if I don't have to. And I'll just show you up close here. See, here we are. And what I do is I always kind of pull like this. So if there's a rotten one, I pull and I leave the vellum. And I found rather than cutting, now here's a gooey one, see? So I'm just going to pull. And these are all fairly firm. There's a little moss in here. A little moss left from the pot. Now, feel them all. If they're firm, they're good. And what happens is when you see, now here's one that's a little soggy. But because it comes and then it goes again, then I have to consider, well, do I take it all? But you know what? I'm going to leave it. This one's starting to go. It's not soft. Some other time in the future, if I think I want to check the pot and there's some dry ones in there, then I can just take them off when they're dry. But the less shock it has, the better. So this is what happens, and just feel each one down. As soon as you feel, as long as it feels dry, this color is absolutely normal, and I don't take anything off. I don't have to anymore. I don't like to shock the plant, and so then it will go in a pot. Let me see. There. We could put it in this little one. So as you see, it's been in a small pot. Now, size of pots. Let's discuss that while I do this. These are, maybe I'll undip this. Now look what's in here. This is half full of muck. Just total muck. And in the bottom, they put the old plastic pots they pulled off the plants. No holes. That is a recipe for disaster. But you get your 1/2 inch or 5/8 drill and you drill underwater with a battery operated drilling. This would make a beautiful pot, so I don't throw those away. And this is no good. It's going in the sink. That is, if you're getting a new orchid, as soon as possible, get a little bag. The pre-mixed bags they sell in the store for orchids are good, but feel the bag. If it feels real fine and crumbly, you don't want it. You want to feel some coarse bark. Now, how coarse is my bark? I get asked that a lot. It's varying sizes. It's not real large. I'll show you. There's the odd large piece, but as you can see, there's my thumbnail. Okay, so just feel the bag. You can pretty well tell if you shake it and feel it, whether sometimes they sit around too long and there's too much. You want air to rotate. You do want that. And if it's too crunched up in that bag, you want to feel some solid pieces in there. Other than that, it's perfectly fine. So this one's ready to go into its pot. And I put a bit of bark. And it's not going to be waiting too long, and it'll be happy. And there we go. I like big pots. They really say a lot. Oh, they love to be in small pots. They do. But I have some that when I put them in a bigger pot, they were so happy. They spend more time at first growing roots. But then they're so healthily stuck in that pot. And soon, within a few days, I think, I'll do a tour. I want to show you some other things that have been happening. I have lots of new leaves, and I have my one and only species orchid spiking. So it's the only orchid I have that's a species, Phalaenopsis. And it likes a lot of sun. So I've got a lot I want to show you. And today is just going to be about repotting. And those who, I'll just apologize, those who've seen this over and over again. But you know what? Over and over again I do it. But then you watch and think, well, what did I see? Was that right? Now I'm just poking all this stuff down with my finger and getting it really solid in there. Now, one good thing, any roots that were getting a bit moist and you might have missed one, or if you had to cut out a lot, I wouldn't water for a week. It's in wet bark. The plant's been soaked already before you potted it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I would not water it again for a week, and give it time. Yes, it will dry up. It's new bark, doesn't absorb as much moisture as once you've had it for a year or so, but it probably won't need potted again for 2, maybe 3 years. And it's so easy to do once you get used to this rather than this. This is not good. Little bits of moss for those people that need it, yes, but like this is muck. This is terrible, terrible, terrible. But like you say, they think they're going to throw it away. So there we are. It won't. So what happens if you leave it for that week? Those roots that are a little soft, they get to dry out a bit. They need to do that. Then what's going to happen is the ones that are there are going to be fine, but what you want is new roots. It's a good time of year. When they're through flowering, they'll come into a growth mode and you'll get more roots. Now, there's no aerial roots, but what I do is I get my mister bottle. Every morning I go around and I spray the surface. If you're worried about limp leaves, you could also spray the leaves. Now, these leaves are going to get a nice wipe down after, but I want to get these in their pot. And we're going to have a few examples because I have the 3. Now let's do the salmon colored one. Now It was in the same color pot. I thought it might look really nice in here. It's had a lot more sunlight. Its leaves have quite a dark area underneath. I should come and show you. Okay, notice underneath the color of the leaves, there's quite a bit of purple. They could have been in a sunnier spot in the greenhouse, or it could just be the type of the color of flower, the type that it is. So I don't want anybody to be afraid to do this, because it is, the trouble is, as you can see, now if that got left in there, because it's Mother's Day and they're so beautiful, and so, oh, you'll wait till they're out of bloom. Out of bloom, sitting in that muck will be too late. It really will. I have learned, I'm still babying some. I've still got some where the original leaves, the first lower ones, did go limp, and you can mist your leaves, and at night they might use the humidity a little more, any of the sad ones, than they do in the daytime, because at night they're actually good in the bedroom because they're giving us oxygen at night and they're working. So if you have just a little mister, I have one I keep over here. I think I showed it in the last video, but it's just a small mister. Just maybe set the ones that have the drier leaves closer to the mister. Mist them every morning. Don't worry about the watering, because you know they are hardier than you think. And when I do this, I leave this, lots of people would take that out, but actually I use it because it helps support it when I'm holding it. And I always leave it in. I never take it out when I'm repotting. So Jack's making me some for once I've had them a while that I can clip onto the side of the pot. He's taking some of those metal paper clips. There's all different sizes, and he's just, I don't know if it's solder or braze, a little stand on the top of the metal. And he's done me one small one, but we've been so busy because it's, I planted tomatoes the other day, and I know you guys are too, we're also busy. And I have to thank you for subscribing and for just coming to visit me, because it might seem funny and I get to do all the talking, but I thank all the comments. I enjoy all the comments, and I learn a lot. People have good ideas of things I can do to improve too, and just all over joking conversation that we miss because I'm here and you can't interrupt me. So, okay, here we go. Now I'm going to rinse this one off. This is how quick it is. And please don't be scared. This is how quick it is. And Carolyn is cut off. I mean, I have enough to look after now. If I had it set in a special room and joined onto this, like when we win the lottery, then I would set them up so that they could all be hosed off, and I'd set them up properly, but I really don't want, I said to Mom, this is it, we're just going to enjoy the ones we got, watch them grow and get new leaves, and really master the art of keeping them blooming, and see how long you can keep one blooming. So, and with these non-species orchids, they are raised to be a little bit easier to grow than the species orchids, and they are good for resale. But it's too bad you don't get a little thing. Repot me, a little card. Repot me when you get me home, because there would be so many people staying with their orchids. Okay, here's another one. Now, the bottom ones are good. They were near the surface, winding around the pot. kind of a block. It's got a new little root here. Looks like a fairly new one. There's some black spots. I see nothing disastrous. Anything gooey comes out. And you know what? This one's ready for the pot. Everything feels firm. The white ones feel firm. I don't, even this dark spot, I don't feel any gooiness. There's a funny looking spot, looks like an old injury right there. I could clean that up. I think it's fine though. So I think it's simple and easier when we think. And I encourage you to do it as soon as possible. As far as a lot of the stuff says, oh, the flowers will drop. Well, let me see. I haven't had I haven't noticed that. If you have to do a big operation, you're liable to lose. Big temperature changes, you're liable to lose. But I haven't had that problem. So here we are. Looks like it's going to be a nice fit. And I'm going to let this bark go in between all the holes. Now it gets nutrition when I fertilize. And I have some ground up old mortar that helps give a little calcium. Your treatment after you've repotted, you can spend your time reading on the internet different ideas and things to do, and it's all part of the fun of learning how to keep them going, and that's what we want. We want every year. Now these have been in bud since December, and by the end of December the blooms were coming out, and look at this. I have not had any off the purple cut. None off the yellow, but we took the baby Kiki, and she's in a special place I have to show you another day. And it's amazing. I've got the big one that was in the red heater pot, the big white one we took to the Salmon Arm Garden Show. Went through a huge storm and wind and everything, and it's fine. I think it's got one wilty flower I cut off, and one looks a little sad, but I'll have to do a tour for Mother's Day and show you and explain a couple things that I see. So maybe I'll actually get more done in the next while. So yeah, okay. I'm just humming and hawing if I got that low enough. You know what I'm going to do? This is what I do, you know, if I'm worried about an orchid. Say it's been, you know, a month or so and it's not seemed to making any headway, I dump it out. I say, okay, let's have a look at it. What I want to do is make sure the spike wasn't pulled anymore. There, now we got her. Okay, what I was doing was hitting the metal spike before the plant even started to get in there. There we go. And that's how simple it is. And when you're checking, when you got time to check on them, I haven't noticed it bothers them at all. They're already getting used to the bark. So, and then you can see how they're doing. You can see how dry your bark is right to the bottom. And it can dry out for a day or two before watering. And then, but I have added that extra day, and it's just a matter of taking my watering can, going around maybe twice, and letting it run through. Because I think it's going to be 80 and 90 most days this week. Plus the house is hotter, so I'll soon be moving them out onto the patio, and I'll be showing you that. So I want this nice and firm. Need a little bit more. And that's how simple it is. And I am going to I've got the purple one, the other purple one to do, but what I'm going to do is I can set this one aside for those who want to leave early, but I'm going to set that one there for a minute. We'll put it that way. Okay. I'm going to put all this in the sink. It's horrible stuff. So, a little bit more bark. So, now I don't water this because it's new. The others I'll be giving some water on Thursday. This one won't get water on Thursday. It will wait for watering day. And I think because we got company Monday, I'll probably water a day early, and you can switch your watering schedule around. It's not a big deal, as long as you don't find you're always having to water. That wouldn't be good. So, wow. You know, it's beautiful. We love it. There. God's gardeners. Yeah. Okay. There we are. A beautiful little addition. Nicely planted. All the leaves are going to get wiped down with just water. Okay. This one. Just before we go, I think I should empty out this one too and see what we got. Now they've got this big ivy in here, and I'm not fond of that. I might just put it in a weird spot outside in the back. So I'll use it, but I won't be putting it back. These are snug in here, and I think it's the same situation. Oh boy. Okay. There's one there with 2 spikes. And there's one here. And then I'll pull out the ivy, which is taking the majority. Look at this. This is not good. I have a whole thing. And then in the bottom, you know why they've done that? So the water, when they're watering, will go below this. I'm not impressed. So there we go. We got 2 beautiful pots that we can turn into orchid pots as they grow and they need a bigger pot. So I wanted to do this one before I shut off. So I think what I'll do is wet her down. Here. I have had, the other one likes it, so I'm not too sure. I could put the double in there. It's got nice small leaves, or I could put this one. I think this one's lighter, so I think I'll go for this one. And the reason I'm doing this is I just, have not found any little mini minis. And if I do, I'll be happy, but this is very, very tight. And I soaked it, and the water didn't even get into the inside. Not much. See, there's the other problem when you got it compacted. You're watering, it's going to a certain area, and it just can't even get into some of these sunspots. So, oh yeah, it didn't. Now,